Google launches robo tool to flag hate speech online. They've launched a new software, Perspective, which is being tested by a range of news organizations, including the New York Times, The Guardian, and The Economist, as a way to help simplify the jobs of human reviewing comments on their stories. So, of course, they still need to keep the comment sections, otherwise, their traffic would crater even further. But now they've got this handy tool developed by Google in the pockets of the deep state, of course, where it will identify, quote, toxic comments and filter them out. This is what the article says, quote, Perspective helps to filter abusive comments more quickly for human review. The algorithm was trained on hundreds of thousands of user comments that had been labeled as toxic by human reviewers on sites such as Wikipedia and the New York Times. It works by scoring online comments based on how they are how the comments are tagged as toxic or likely to make someone leave a conversation. Now, another thing that might make someone leave a conversation is if they get their ass whooped in a debate and lose the debate and scuttle away with their tail between their legs. Or, of course, if they get triggered, if they get offended by a comment, they don't want to respond to it, they just leave the conversation. Not necessarily abusive, is it? But that's the completely vague, subjective pretext on which they're going to censor comments in comment sections. Why are they doing this? Well, we've explained it for many years now, and there's a new article up on Infowars.com which recaps some of that. Why mainstream media websites are censoring and removing comment sections. Now, this is key because it ties into this new Google software. Okay, their trust is plummeting. Trust in media is down at record lows. They're barely trusted more than Congress, and they're losing their ability to control the narrative, especially given studies which show, and I linked to the study in the article, this is proven. Studies show that when people read news articles, then they read the comments below that article, they judge the credibility, the trustworthiness of both the content of the article and the publisher of the article based on the comments. So the comments are more important than the article when people make that judgment. So, of course, they want to censor the comments. And in fact, if you drill down into this study, which we linked up in this article, it says directly that the less civil the tone, the more, quote, toxic, which could mean anything. It basically means a forceful argument. The more forceful the argument, the more likely people are to believe the comments and not the content of the article. So that's why they need to censor comments in articles. Of course, many websites, including Popular Science, have removed them altogether. They just got rid of them, despite the fact that it, womped off like, 30% of their traffic in one go. And if you look at the reason behind why Popular Science did that back a few years ago, and many other websites have done it since, they admitted that they pulled their own comment section so they could preach, quote, a scientific doctrine on global warming without being challenged. So there were just too many inconvenient people in the comments of these Popular Science articles challenging their global warming propaganda. And instead of allowing the people who disagree to debate and for it to be a level playing field, they just announced, we're just going to get rid of comments altogether. Again, because the studies show people judge the credibility, accuracy, and trustworthiness of an article based on the response to it, based on the comments. So they're coming after that now. They're coming after, quote, fake news. Of course, not making the distinction that fake news is when people create news out of thin air to make money. It's not someone with a dissenting opinion about a news event, which is how they've tried to spin it. You have Facebook admitting last year they censored the trending list of topics to filter out conservative viewpoints and opinions, to filter out conservative influence on their trending topics list. Twitter just came out with a new policy that said they would censor, quote, low quality tweets. Again, completely subjective definition, could mean absolutely anything. Of course, we know the people who run Twitter, the Trust and Safety Council, virtually all of those organizations are far left. Any technology developed by Silicon Valley to combat so-called hate speech, which is how they sell it, is going to have a liberal bias baked in. Not even a classically liberal bias, an authoritarian bias, because that is what the left has become. And they're censoring people on Twitter. They censored a prominent, not even a conservative, someone who identifies as a liberal, but criticizes social justice warriors and feminists on a regular basis, a guy named Sargon of Akkad, who's got a big YouTube channel, 150,000 followers on Twitter, gone, censored, banned. How many other people have they banned since they banned Milo? Now they're trying to set this guy up and say that he's asked for child porn from somebody, and that's why they banned him. Complete BS, nonsense, libelous, yet now that is floating around. These people are vicious. These people are nasty. Again, they're coming after us. They're coming after us physically. I read the article earlier. Gert Wilders, someone within his security detail, leaking his whereabouts to a criminal organization. They're coming after us with fake news censorship. They're coming after us with comment censorship because we're kicking their butt on a level playing field and they can't stand it. The financial attacks, they're coming after us that way as well. Every single imaginable, underhanded, insidious, nasty way, they will stoop to it because, again, the far left has no principles, and they attack us based on the fact that we have principles. We don't try to censor them. We get out on the playing field, a level playing field, and beat them in a fair argument. They can't do that, so they have to resort to this censorship, this nastiness over and over again. But James O'Keefe is striking back. The CNN leak is taking place today. CNNleaks.com is the website. Washington Times reports James O'Keefe offers $10,000 award for evidence of media malfeasance. Conservative sleuth James O'Keefe is ramping up his effort to take down the mainstream media by enlisting the help of ordinary citizens to go undercover and expose wrongdoing in newsrooms across the country. He has released 119 hours of audio recordings from inside CNN. Now, of course, he's done it in a WikiLeaks dump style. He's dumped the entire 119 hours for people out there to go out and dig themselves and find these nuggets, find these clips. The media will not be able to debunk him by claiming he edited videos or audio clips, which is what they do over and over again. Oh, this is edited. Yeah, every single frigging video is edited. Well, they can't do that this time because he's dumped the raw data. And already some revelations are beginning to emerge about the real fake news. And we'll be back to talk about it after the break on the Alex Jones Show Live, Infowars.com. We'll be right back.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.